welcome back to Shoogly Shed Motors. Just a wee short one today to finish off the stainless exhaust for the XJR. I've been working away in the background, finishing up some welds and grinding some stuff off, and I'll show you where we're at basically. If you remember last time we did the collector thing piece here, I've got a bead of weld here, cleaned up these welds as well, and then I finished the welding on the other pipes, and then I've basically blended it all and smoothed it off. If you remember correctly, I was going to do some sort of aesthetic pie cut style rings of welds around these bends. Having welded this and done the welding on the pipes that I did actually cut, I've basically figured out that my welding skills aren't there yet. Is basically the long and short of it. I think I would make a mess of these pipes if I tried to put beads of weld around them just for an aesthetic reason. My welds are functional but not pretty yet. I'm still working on the whole stacked dime idea. You know, they're reasonable, but they're not Instagram worthy stacked dime, weld porn, whatever. So I decided to just do what I do best and, like I say, finish these welds and then blend them all. So that's these pipes basically all blended, and then I was planning on getting these coated, ceramic coated, something like that. So that's basically where we're at with these. I'm quite happy with them. I think they look pretty cool, and I like the 4-into-1 idea. So next thing to think about is a tailpiece. Right, I'm gonna go for this basically. I think I showed this in the last episode, but this was part of the link pipes from the original exhaust, but I really like the shape of it. What I've done is I've cut off a wee maybe 2-inch section off of this to get the right kind of angle I want. It fits into my collector really nicely, like that, and probably that kind of angle is where I'm looking for. I had thought about, I had cut a piece of pipe, there it is there, I thought about something like that on the end, just to make it a wee bit more interesting, but I don't know, it feels a bit Orange County Choppers, that kind of style, so I don't think it suits the style of the bike. But just that kind of straight off wee bend and kind of follows the contour of the underside of the bike here quite nicely. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to go for. Now, obviously, this is just a straight pipe. That would be horrendous. That 4-into-1 into a straight pipe would just be awful. So I've got a plan for basically putting some kind of sound deadening and baffling into this end piece, and then obviously I also need a way of fixing it in place so that it doesn't come flying out. I'm going to use exhaust springs, little stainless exhaust springs, and I've got these little sort of tabs, these little loops to weld on to the exhaust on either side, and these springs will hold that tailpiece in place. So that's my job, is to weld these on and then put some sound deadening inside of this pipe, and then I'm going to call the exhaust project kind of finished. Other than sort of finishing coatings and stuff when we get to that stage of the build. But yeah, it's been a really fun little project actually putting this exhaust together, and this I think will just finish it off nicely. Right, so as you saw there, I've welded on the little loops onto the tailpiece and onto the collector. I've done both sides of the tailpiece. I will do the other side of the collector when I have the exhaust off the bike. I don't think there's any point in me trying to squeeze in there with the TIG and making a meal of it. It would be better if I can do it on the bench a bit more comfortably. One thing I've learned about TIG welding so far is that it makes a huge difference how comfortable you are when you're doing it. Like if you're on a nice bench with your workpiece in front of you, with your arms supported and relaxed, you can do a way better job than if you're trying to squeeze in somewhere to put a bead or even just to put a tack on. So yeah, I think that's something that maybe obviously will come with experience, and the better you get, the less you need to be as comfortable. But when I'm starting out, obviously that's something I've really noticed, is how comfortable you are when you're sitting, or just when you're welding. Makes a huge difference. Anyway, right, tailpiece is on. Next thing I need to do is, I've got a universal baffle thing. I'll grab it. Where is it? Here. I've already sort of bent it a bit in the vise, so that it will basically fit down there. It's a sort of press fit. It needs jammed in. I think that a baffle alone, although it's like one of these baffles that really does actually baffle, a baffle alone will do a world of difference to the exhaust. I think I also want to wrap it in some wadding. I've got a reel of wadding there, so I'm just gonna maybe just do 1 or 2 ways round with wadding, put some wire on it to hold it, stick this down the end, whack it in, and that should hold it firmly in place. I don't really want to weld it in or bolt it in or anything. If it's whacked in and it's like a press fit, it should be quite tight and it shouldn't go anywhere. It also means that if I ever want to remove it, I can just sort of take the tailpiece off and knock it out from the inside. Yes, I suppose there's a risk that it might fire out, but I suppose if that happens, then I will need to come up with a better way of securing it. Maybe just like a bolt and a nut or something through it. That might be sufficient. I may even just do that anyway, not sure. Anyway, first thing to do is get this off, wrap this in wadding, and then jam it down it and see how that goes. Right. Short of finishing the little welds on that little tab there, and what you saw me putting in there was the wee support bracket I'd mentioned on the collector. Basically all that's going to do is just add a little bit of rigidity to the exhaust system. Usually there's like a support bracket on like an end can or something, but obviously I'm not doing something like that on this one, so I wanted to just add an extra point of contact for the exhaust so that it's not all just hanging off the headers. That ties in quite nicely to one of these frame bolts here, so that's kind of, yeah, perfect. Nice little neat solution. I'll finish up those welds when I have the whole system off the bike. Yeah, I'll do those and weld the other spring bracket on the back of the collector there. Aside from that, that's more or less the exhaust complete, the exhaust system. I'm pretty chuffed with it. It's been a bit of a learning curve. I kind of threw myself in at the deep end with regards to learning how to TIG weld stainless steel. It's not as easy as it looks. There's quite a few sort of intricacies to it that you kind of need to get your head round before you're starting to lay any kind of respectable looking welds. I hope that my skills in TIG welding, much like my MIG over the past couple of years, will improve and I'll maybe be able to tackle slightly more complicated exhaust systems and pie cuts and things like that in the future. But I think with regards to this project, I'm gonna learn to walk before I run. Although I like the idea of the kind of fake pie cuts, I just don't think I'm there yet. Who knows, maybe in the future I can take this exhaust system off and do that if I feel more confident. But for the time being, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks, and it keeps the kind of minimalist theme on this bike that I'm trying to stick with. Not got any big chunky end cans or anything, it's just nice and neat, but hopefully with that baffle and the wadding in there as well, it will keep the decibel level to a respectable number. It won't be too antisocial hopefully, but I guess I'm just going to find this out when I actually fire the bike up. I've got a full engine rebuild and things to do before that happens, but I won't know what the exhaust note will be like until I do that. However, aesthetically, which is the only thing I can really judge just now, I'm happy with where it's at. So yeah, that can kind of finish off the exhaust there. And the next kind of things I need to tackle, I kind of left you on a bit of a cliffhanger with regards to the brakes. Obviously, I was talking about getting custom discs made up. I'm probably not going to do that now, having had a few costings in for custom discs. That's just way out with my budget. So I've started mocking up an idea for the back, and I've got an idea for the front as well, but I'll cover all that in another episode. But yeah, we're marching on with this project and we're getting lots of complicated jobs ticked off, and that's that's the right kind of forward trajectory I've been looking for a while now. So yeah, we've got a bit of a stride on the go. Hopefully towards the end of the year I'll be getting this thing stripped down and do an engine rebuild and things over the winter, and then maybe the start of next year start to reassemble and put this thing back together in time for sort of show season in the spring. But I'm not going to give myself any deadlines because I know too well, this year especially, that life can get in the way, so not going to put too much pressure on myself. But yeah, we'll take it as it comes. Anyway, as usual, please do give me a like, leave me a comment and subscribe to the Shoogly Shed channel. The channel has actually been growing quite nicely in the background. I'm thinking kind of closing in on 4,000 subscribers now. Is that right? Or yeah, somewhere like that. But yeah, it's nice to see the kind of progress, and it's nice to see the support I'm getting from people all over the globe and people interested in especially this project. Seems to be a good response to getting back onto this project after finishing the VMAX earlier in the year. Yeah, hopefully I'm producing the content you like watching. Anyway, rambled on enough now. I will love you and leave you. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.